I click links, join the channel here over at Subscribestar. So Screen Rant has this long article. It's kind of weird, actually. It's really long, and it's doing a lot of shilling for Disney to the point where you're kind of wondering about if there's something going on behind the scenes about why the view numbers for Secret Invasion are under a million, which for them is low, and they never actually say anything real in any of these reviews. It's like with when they were talking about She-Hulk, they never addressed any of the male concerns, like all the kind of male bashing. I mean, it was literally in the first minute of the first episode of She-Hulk where there was a guy who walks in the office and he's the fall guy for the two women, like immediately, and nobody pointed that out. Nobody noticed that. It's like they just continue that throughout the whole series. And what happened to that series? Well, it didn't do well. It didn't get renewed for a second season. Oh, I mean, all you would have had to done was just like treat people a little bit more fairly, and you would have had a second season and a third. And it wouldn't have hurt to get a hotter, younger blonde chick. But that's not diverse enough. Well, I mean, they are blonde chicks are diverse, but we just get too many of those people. No, I think we need more. I think. Do you want to sell? No, no, no. Ultimately, like they just don't care about sales. That's the real reality. So they give this long excuse filled article. It's just a list of excuses to the extent that they're either getting paid by Disney to run cover, which before that sounds like tinfoil hat. It's $1 billion company who's dealing with a people writing articles who are going to reach a lot of people. If I mean, think how easy it would be if you're somebody at Disney to go, hey, soft, or like just to have a relationship back and forth between the company and the guy at Screen Rant or these other, like 100 other publications that have got some pretty big viewership numbers. You'd simply have a working relationship with them, and there'd be like when articles like this come out, there'd just be an exchange of money. It would just completely like it wouldn't even have to be crypto. It's like you could just cash app somebody, a few $1,000s to soft pedal the article. It's like for a lot of these writers, oh, for sure, like $3,000 to play down and give some excuses. Oh, absolutely, they take it. Just like they just do a bunch of like Cash App installments, and like no one would ever know about it. It would never come out because like who's going to talk about it? Who's going to believe it? It would just be like an untraceable donation as long as you keep writing these, shell articles. Anyway, I mean that's how weird the articles are. Then you kind of read a bunch of the other articles across platforms, and you kind of start to get the vibe like, yeah, it's not impossible that kind of stuff is going on. Anyway, so or the other aspect of the thing with soy boys and these cat ladies is they form these parasocial relationships. And here's the thing: is people on the right also do that with various things. People on the right used to do it with sports. That's faded away as sports is kind of faded away. But like the right wing does it with their own things too. And then like you find yourself defending. You do this more as an adult where you'll stop early. You'll find yourself defending something, and then you'll catch yourself and be like, oh, wait a minute, I don't give a shit about this. Hey, you can have this argument. I'm going to walk away from it. I don't know why I was emotionally invested in something. Like as an adult, you do that like once you pass 30, you'll do that, or you'll start and then you'll stop and you'll realize this isn't worth getting involved in. I just don't care that much. Or why am I defending $1 billion company? It's like because for the left, the major mainstream media and corporations are defending their worldview right now. So when you criticize these movies, you're criticizing their worldview. That's one of the things that got Mr. Myers and Diversity in Comics, what drove the left wing, why they came after him and even talked about his family with like venomous hatred, like, threats against his existence on this mortal coil, why the hatred was so deep, because he was criticizing the comics, the products, but that was their worldview was in the comics. You were criticizing them and their plans for the future. That's why they came knives out for one Richard C. Myers. So because they have these ideological connections with the show for some reason, yeah, that movie sucked. Or they're just so deeply a Coomer consumer soy boy, with the Funko Pop dolls on the shelves, that kind of stuff. And so there was a meme on Twitter of like a left-wing guy had all the Funko Pop shelves and a right-wing guy had, his collection of Liberty devices in, different sizes. And they're going like, these are the same thing. This is just right-wing copium. People are like, but the Liberty devices are useful. You can actually do things with them. And if you want to, you can sell them for very much almost the same price that you bought them for. They're metal and wood. They can last a lifetime. You can pass them on to people. The Funko Pop dolls are just plastic garbage. That when the fad passes, like there's fads for all these kind of toys. When they pass, those things are just like they're going in a landfill. The Liberty device is like, you can take a deer with some of those things, and you can hand those off to your kids, and you can. Anyway, I mean they're useful, they're fun. Anyway, there's a lot of Coomer consumer soy boys that they feel they have to have a relationship with Disney to the extent that they have to defend it and the other Disney streaming shows and movies that bomb. Oh, hey, what a little bit of globalist propaganda here. There's these little I don't know what you call them, hidden, well, not Easter eggs, I don't know what you call them, but it's not a good thing. It's this little subversive propaganda they put in every movie now. They're carrying the message. Here's the message. Here's the message. Let it slip in your subconscious. Like, get effed, you bunch of grooming Epstein Island types at Disney. So the short version is the show is a slow burn focused on one guy. I think I want to say, I was going to say, is this the Snakes on the Plane guy? But what if I'm wrong? Anyway, the thing is, I don't think there's any soy boys here listening to this. They're not going to care. So that's not what Marvel superheroes are all about. Like a slow Cold War type of thriller. That's more of a spy versus spy from the '80s type of thing. Back then, God, those books used to be. That was a whole genre of fiction. It was Cold War thrillers and books that later got made into movies. I want to say like. Tom Clancy, obviously, but there was a bunch more than him. The Little Drummer Girl by what's-his-face, Lacar or something. Anyway, which might be more nuanced, but the audience is not connected to Disney Marvel for nuance. They have no faith that the modern Disney can pull off nuance, which, to be fair, there's no way. That's just not what Marvel is expected for, and there's no way that Marvel could pull that off. And this, talking about artificial intelligence, that's a bunch of copium. I don't think anyone cares about that. So they turned out to not watch it, and at the end of this, they list the upcoming Marvel releases, and out of the 8 listed, there's only one that I can guarantee, I'll go into those at the end, that I can almost guarantee is going to be a hit, because it's going in a different direction from the other films. Deadpool 3, I think, is Ryan Reynolds, right? That's almost certainly going to be a hit. The Captain America film is probably not going to be, because that has the old Marvel vibe, and people are pretty much over that. The energy has shifted from Marvel and DC, but I do predict that a female-led Captain Marvel with Brie Larson is going to be a surprise hit, because it's following on the success of the Girl Power Barbie movie, which, like, they knew that movie was going to be a success, but it beat even their expectations. And I'm not sure if it's accurate to say girl power is hot right now. I think the perception of girl power in films is hot, and there's going to be a big push, and then there'll be a correction when a lot of the stuff starts failing in the future. But, there's going to be some successes for the next 2 or 3 years with girl power films if they follow the same formula as Barbie. Will they? Probably not. So you're probably going to see bombs coming right. What? Well, we swapped out the hot blonde character and we used these other, like, more diverse, body diverse and whatever diverse characters, and it didn't make the $900 million that Barbie did. Yeah, because that was the formula. That's like Hollywood used to proudly be formulaic. Now they're anyway. Barbie was a huge success, but keep in mind the presentation of Barbie was the feminist message, but it was wrapped up in a lot of things that women love. Bright pink, beautifully dressed women, just the best sets. Like, they're probably going to win awards for those amazing sets. Everything was fun, silly, bright. It was not like, yes, they had some feminist speeches, but it just wasn't that deep. And who's the guy, the Ken guy? Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling was a lot of fun. In fact, it's like they're even kind of getting a little bit pushback, because people are talking about Ryan Gosling playing Ken more than they're talking about Margot Robbie playing Barbie, because she wasn't as likable in that movie. She was kind of like, all the chicks were kind of evil in that movie. And of course, he had the insane name recognition for the doll. It's been around 70 years. It's known everywhere in the Western world, and it's probably known anywhere that those toys could be marketed. Where now, if they wanted to bring back She-Hulk and replace this chick who was in it, just with a young skinny blonde and Ally McBeal type, Calista Flockhart from the 90s to play the role, you would have a hit. But that's not Disney's. No, we're gonna get a 40-year-old woman to play the role instead of a hot, skinny young blonde. Oh, Good luck with that. Yeah, we don't want the male gaze. You you're not going to get the GAZE ones anyway. So, Invasion has got the old Marvel Universe vibe, which feels like it wrapped up. I don't know when that last movie was. It was several years ago now. I mean, and yes, it made $2 billion, but it's over. It's like you have to move on in a different direction, and it follows a lot of bombs from Disney. How did Black Widow do? Well, we have this sexy character, Scarlett Johansson, who plays up a very curvaceous body, enhanced by a doctor and some silicone for sure, and then they play that down for the her own movie, her starry role movie. It's like, what are you doing? Oh, again, we don't want men to watch the movie. They didn't. They didn't watch the movie. Congratulations, you won. You chased away the male audience. And then you have Thor: Love and Thunder. That was painfully stupid. And Ant-Man and Kang, also that movie looked like even Paul Rudd didn't want to be in that movie, and everybody loves Paul Rudd, and just everyone in that movie looked miserable. Michelle Pfeiffer was the only one who was having fun in that movie, and she was the only one who was worth watching in the movie. And the failure of Ant-Man and Kang was kind of the bad news for the follow-up film, because he was supposed to have his own movie, but the actor Jonathan Majors is wrapped up in some legal issues, and it doesn't matter what actually happened. The only thing that matters is the perception of what happened. So it's kind of an Ezra Miller situation where there's going to be a percentage of the audience that is going to refuse to go to the theater. Probably most of the female audience is going to stand in solidarity with their the chick, and it's just, well, they should, because there's not a whole lot of interest in a guy with your reputation for beating up his girlfriend, unless there's just the best evidence that shows it didn't happen. But the evidence that came out actually shows kind of the guy seems a little shady. It's like kind of a, what do you call it, like a Stockholm situation with the girl defending him. I mean, it was weird, and it was weird that his attorney published this note where it kind of implied his guilt in the situation. I think the future surprise is going to be that the female-led films are going to do better than the male ones. I promise you that the Brie Larson film, yes, as crazy as this sounds, is going to be a surprise. Yes, I know Captain Marvel did $1 billion because it was between the two biggest films so far in movie history. Barbie has got people ready to see another blonde on screen, and Brie Larson's, if you've seen her do some of her workout videos, she's got an absolutely fantastic body. It's going to get a new fan base when it opens up, because chicks are coming off the success of Barbie and the vibe of Barbie, and they're going to go see Brie Larson. And the success of Barbie is going to change the movie environment probably for the next few years. I guarantee that there's going to be a movie that tries to come close to like some of those '90s films. I think Clueless with Alicia Silverstone was probably a hit at the time. Where if you're smart, you follow, just try to be as formulaic as possible. Get a hot blonde in bright outfits. It's going to be a hit for the next few years. I didn't say it would be good, because Barbie wasn't good. That was a stupid movie. But it's irrelevant. I mean, except for Ken and some of the other Kens, it's irrelevant. All that matters is if it sells tickets. And people are breaking down the real messaging of Barbie and Ken, and it's like, it actually made feminism look really stupid, and it made the chicks look really stupid. But the women who were directing it and writing it, I don't think they saw that, because they look like totalitarians because they wouldn't share power. Where the time would come at the end of the movie would have been to teach a lesson about equality and sharing power, and they wouldn't do it. Like, oh, you got to the end of the movie. This is your chance to tell a lesson about the moral lesson, and you kind of told the opposite of what you're implying would have been the right decision if the other side was doing it. Did you not think that through? The guy goes, so can we have a Supreme Court justice? And she goes, no, absolutely not. Maybe a lower court. Like, that's not fair. That's representation. Does it matter? Not for men. That's bizarre. Anyway, Barbie sold a lot of tickets. Chicks, there's not been a lot of movies that have got energy out there. So when you present something for people. The Barbie Oppenheimer combo, that was just the best marketing combination. That was lightning in a bottle. You're not going to see that again for another decade. And it sucked all the energy out of Mission Impossible and Disney's Haunted, which is going to lose $100 million. Mission Impossible is probably going to lose $200 million. And people who saw all three of the films say that Mission Impossible was the best film of the trilogy. Even like people are saying, watching Oppenheimer, and they're saying that that's overrated. And if you're male and you're watching Barbie, you know it's overrated. So anyway, so the upcoming films. Let me get to the end of this. So these are the upcoming films on the horizon. The Marvels. Brie Larson, I think, is going to shock everybody with its success. Brie Larson has a fan base for some weird reason. Captain America: Brave New World's going to be flat and underperformance, especially compared to a few years ago. Just the energy has gone from that character. Blade, kind of the same story because you think it's got a built-in audience, the Black Panther audience. Well, that movie did well because it had the Afrofuturism vibe in there. Fighting vampires is just not as popular with that crowd. The Kang Dynasty is going to underperform because the perception is Jonathan Majors is a scumbag. Deadpool 3 will do well because, Ryan Reynolds, and it's just like a fun, lighthearted, and also kind of goes in a different direction. Then Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, and Secret Wars are going to bomb or underperform. I don't think any Fantastic Four movie has ever made money. And there was one back in the early '90s. I think it was like a Golden Globus production. Like they had to make the movie. I think you can probably find it online to keep the IP alive or something weird like that. And it was movie done on a budget of a few $100,000. It was bizarre. And I think they did the same thing with Captain America as the same super low budget movie just to maintain the legal rights or something like that. So I'm guessing that out of these 8 films, the hits are going to have to subsidize the bombs, but I think the numbers are not going to be very positive for Disney. I think they're barely going to pay for themselves. And when they see the success of Brie Larson in the Marvels, yeah, there's 2 other chicks in there, Monica Rambeau and Captain Ms. Marvel, I think. Nobody cares about those other 2 chicks. They're not going to go off and do anything. They care about Brie Larson because she's a pretty blonde with nice milkers, and they're going to see the success of that movie. They're going to change direction and try to switch gears to chase a female audience, which for superhero movies is mostly non-existent. But like Hollywood's going to go in the direction they want to go in. Anyway, if you want to see me, if you want me to go see a movie and review it, pay for it in the popcorn, and I will review it, even if I'm the only male sitting in some of these films. Or any film. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys all next episode.